Welcome, everyone, to the next episode of the Wikid Weekend podcast. I'm back, Michael here. I've got a couple Wikid creators with me, Jeremy Lott, Matt, and just joined by Dan, the man, as well. Is that your nickname by any chance, Dan?
It's difficult to avoid that if you go by Dan.
Yeah, unfortunately.
A variation is, of course, the man with the plan.
That's a little bit better, though. I'd rather be that that might be a bit better. But I appreciate you guys joining in with me today.
Absolutely. With me today is a very special guest, my daughter, Cara. Say hello.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hey, Cara.
Aw. Hello.
Hello, Cara.
How are you doing?
Hi. Yeah, that is an assumed name, but anyway. I just wanted her to... I essentially asked her what her favorite superhero was, and she said Supergirl. I said, okay, so you're Cara. There you go.
Nice. Oh, that's funny. Well, we're glad to have another addition to the Wikid podcast. I can't wait for her. Now, am I correct? Didn't you? Was there a project you guys kind of collaborated on a little bit together?
Yes. Do you remember what that was called, Cara? The BFD?
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you tell them a little bit about the BFD?
Well, that stands for the Big Friendly Daughter.
And it's based on what?
The BFD.
The Big Friendly Giant, right? We both love that story and that movie. So we came up with a special character called the BFD, which is a little 8-year-old, 14-foot tall giant that makes friends with the girl from the BFD.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. I like that. Yeah, I grew up reading those books, and the animated movie as well was big when I was growing up. So I totally get that. That's a great addition. I like that.
Yeah, and she draws a lot of comics. She loves to design board games too. She designs a board game spontaneously, gives us the rules, and then we all play test it that afternoon. So, what's the most recent one you made? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's called the Family Game.
Okay, so what's the family game about?
Like you go onto one of the squares and you do what that says, and if you go to the finish line first, you win, sort of.
Okay, so it's kind of like the game Quelf, if you've ever played that.
Yeah,
so,
I played that. Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's like her version of that. So.
Okay, very nice. Yeah. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Very creative.
Yeah, she definitely loves to write stories and draw comics. She draws like little Sunday funnies all the time.
Awesome.
Yep,
the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it?
No. She loves to do what Daddy does. She loves to write and draw, and she's a very, very brilliant and creative young lady. So
that's great to hear. Yeah.
Oh, and she also got the very first Maeve hoodie, so she's lucky, right?
Oh, nice.
Yep. So, do you still like your Maeve hoodie? Do you like wearing it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Very good to hear. Yeah. We'll have to get her BFD onto get it out there somewhere in print. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yep. I'm just gonna change it just a little bit so it's not a clear reference to the BFG, but just
fair enough.
Just sort of put out that same story. We have this whole idea as to what actually happens and why she brings the little girl back to Giant Country and all that fun stuff.
Cool. That's great. Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting to see how she's been inspired by you to kind of create like all that different stuff,
Yeah, I greatly encourage her to do all these things. I always love seeing her comics and her stories.
Nice. Have you shown her? Is she been able to see much of Adobe Kroger, or is it a little too mature for her age at this time of day?
A lot of it is, but I have shown you some of it. Do you remember which parts I showed you?
You showed me some of the pages that were finished.
Okay. What part did you like the most?
When she was standing on the building.
When she was standing on the building? Yeah, I like that one too.
That is one of the most popular ones, I think, actually. That's a good one.
Good dude.
But how is progress coming along with Adobe Kroger right now?
Excellent. We're Leandro is starting on page 16 of 24. He just turned in pages 14 and 15 the other day. And I teased out a couple panels of them. But this is where the action really starts to ramp up, so I don't really want to spoil them yet. I really want the reader to be surprised when they see what happens when the action ramps up.
Is it gonna be kind of a twist, would you say, or is it more of just a shocking moment?
Not necessarily a twist or a shocking moment, but it's like I don't want to just give away like the coolest
turn.
parts of the books. Yeah.
I see what you mean. Okay, some of the standout moments that are going to stick with the readers. Kind of want to let them find it organically.
That's right.
I can see that. Yeah. And Jeremy, I'm not sure if have we talked on the podcast since you got your proofs yet?
No, I was going to show people. We have the proofs.
Oh, very nice.
Here it is.
Here, hold that up so I can see it.
Okay.
Nice.
Nice.
So that's the cover.
Oh, let me white cover. Let me white screen you.
Okay.
White box you. There you go.
All right. Ready? Okay. Here's the cover. The front cover and the back cover. That's teasing Women Meet Sportman next. And here's some of the interior pages. I think it reproduced ridiculously well.
Awesome.
You know,
man, can't wait to get my hands on that. It looks like a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it to you soon here. Yeah, so got that. I'm actually gonna give the proof to my kid brother's wedding tonight, and it's dedicated to him and his fiance. So I'm gonna give it to them tonight.
They get the very first print copy. Nice.
Yep, exactly.
That's really nice, man. That's a really nice gift.
That's so exciting, though, to hold your completed book in your hands finally.
Oh yeah, it's great. You know, and I was just like, you look through and you hope that there's no screw ups that, you're like, oh my gosh, what happened? But no, it's great. I'm very, very excited about this.
Yeah, me too. Can't wait to get my copy.
Yeah, what was it like when you opened up that book? You know, for the first time.
It was exciting. I don't know. I mean, there's probably better words than exciting, but
hey man, you can't do much better than that.
Hey, it's finally, this thing that I've spent a lot of time and effort on, and that you guys spent a lot of time and effort on, is finally in my hands, and it's, as darn near to perfect as we can get it, and that's great.
Yeah, making a comic is a long, lonely road sometimes, but it pays off when you finally get to that end.
Yeah.
Really? I totally get what you mean, especially with the crowdfunding, I would imagine.
Yeah.
That's a very long process.
Yeah, because I intentionally did a 60-day crowdfunder on mine, and so it's 2 months of flogging the book.
God bless you. I don't know if I could have kept up what I did for 2 months.
Gee.
You guys blew the roof off in 1 month, so hey.
Yeah.
That's it's interesting. Yeah, the prolonged, a little bit longer of a campaign. You do have to stay focused. That's for sure.
And one of the goals I didn't make is I ended up being on about half the media things that I wanted to be on, and didn't push hard enough. And I'll know next time, just push harder earlier. So.
Well, that's fine. You made your goal. That's what counts, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your book's made. You're holding it, so you win.
Hey, Aaron, how's it going?
Hi, guys.
Welcome.
That's a nice looking book there, Jeremy.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, right here.
All right. It's I think the pages you can say for yourself, Jeremy, but I feel like the pages.
Hello? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you said I feel like the pages, then you cut out.
Oh, sorry about that. I feel like they really pop.
Yeah, it's really good. And there are things that I didn't see until it was printed that are awesome. Like, I'll just to give you a very small example. Like, I don't know if you can see it as well. At the bottom of this page, they're driving, and you can actually see some of the reflective stuff as through the window. And I didn't see that in the online, on the digital, but it really comes up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. How cool.
Yeah.
Do you find that the quality? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, please. You go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to ask Jeremy. Do you find that the art looks sharper and higher quality in print?
Yeah, a little bit, honestly. The only thing that I felt like that was a not a problem, but just something about it for the future is that Doug is used to lettering for the internet, right? And you can vary your font sizes a lot more when you're doing that. And when it translates to print, it works okay, but we're gonna have to work on a little bit more uniformity for future issues. But it's a real. I mean, the art is just amazing.
What happened with the lettering? Is it like pixelated or something?
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that when you're able to vary your font sizes a little bit in print, but not as much as you are online, right? And so when you translate someone who has so much experience online, and Doug does, into print, it's just there's a I don't know. You basically have to make some effort over time to constrain your font sizes.
Huh. That's really interesting. Yeah. Oh yeah. I would wonder if Ebi would probably have much experience with that, because coming from the webcomic stuff too, you know.
Yeah.
I would think. But yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, hey. So looks like we're joined by Brett now as well. Hey, Brett.
Hi. Hey, Brett.
How's it going?
How was breakfast?
It's breakfast,
So it was delicious.
I guess.
What
Sure.
did you make yourself this time?
Is what I ate for breakfast really that interesting?
I had
No.
delicious bacon and pancakes this morning.
Wow.
Yum.
See, I'm jealous. All I had was coffee yogurt. Boo.
Here's what I want to know. If it's Ohana Comic Con, what are you guys out in Hawaii right now?
Yeah, we're in the. They call it the Hawaii of the Valley. No, I think it's referring to the fact that Ohana means. Doesn't it mean family? Isn't that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what it refers to. Yeah.
Are people wearing lays there?
I have not spotted any of those yet, unfortunately.
So you
Not
guys
much
haven't
of
gotten laid?
No. And no tribbles this time,
Hawaii.
unfortunately. But yeah, not much of an island theme going on, I have to say.
Okay.
Oh, well, I just looked up. There's Comic Con Honolulu,
Cool.
which is on the 2nd of August.
Okay, so is the plan next year we're all meeting in Hawaii for that Comic Con?
Sure. Why not?
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Oh yeah.
It'd be nice though at some point to find a place that people could go to where we could a bunch could meet up to do a con together.
I agree.
That'd be pretty fun. Whoa, we got a full house in here.
I look, there's Wes.
There's the Westmeister.
What's up?
There's
Hey guys.
Hey. The young buck.
So what I miss?
Oh, breakfast mostly.
Yeah, I was about to say. You missed
Breakfast and the
what Brett was
proof of
having
Movie
for
Man.
breakfast.
Breakfast and Movie Man. Woo!
Yeah,
And apparently we're making plans to have our next con meet up out in Hawaii.
Hawaii.
exactly. Yep. Can you make it next year?
Hawaii. Yeah, right. From
I do have a webcomic contemporary who lives in Hawaii, so maybe he can put us all up.
There you go. We'll all stay at his place.
I'll go Hawaii if Michael's paying.
Look, Wes, I know you're used. I know you're used to the frozen north of Canada, but come on, you're gonna
It's
tell.
funny you say that, considering we've actually had a heat wave for the last couple of weeks. It's been 32 degrees, which to you guys is freaking 90 plus for the last 2 weeks. It's been nuts.
Is that
You're gonna tell me. So you're gonna tell me that there's not some small part of you that wants to maybe do a con out in Hawaii.
No, it's just I have no idea where that transition is.
It's about 6 hours off the west coast.
Yeah, I know where Hawaii is, dude. It's just wait, party in Hawaii? The problem is money. We all need the monies.
Yeah,
Well,
but it's next year.
We'll just crowdfund it.
Yeah, there you go.
Does everyone want to go to Texas? That's midway, right?
Yeah.
When
There's
North-
actually- I think there's going to be a con in October that Nerd Wonder is putting on. and I said, hey, you put it on, I'll probably go. So that may end up happening.
Where is it going to be at?
I'll be around the Dallas area.
Really? Really?
Yeah, I'll make sure invites get sent to the parties here.
Very nice. That'd be cool. I could see that being a good place for all of us to meet up.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
And Dallas in October is tolerable. In July, not so much.
Really?
My younger brother and his wife and 2 kids lived out there, and they're so glad to be in Washington State for the weekend and then a week or so after, just chilling out because it is so hot there right now.
Wow, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
Not bad out here today. As they said, Alexa told me today would be about a high of 89 degrees, I think.
Okay.
So, what I'm kind of impressed by is like the past 2 summers. Michael will know what I'm talking about, but the past 2 summers, the West Coast got ravaged by wildfires.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just been so hot out here.
Well, but yeah, so far though, no wildfires up in Washington.
Not really.
Keep your fingers crossed.
I honestly thought we'd be doing a hat trick, but no, it seems like the streak is about to be broken.
Well, I mean, a lot of it is that a lot of the fires came down from Canada, and I mean, it wasn't just Canada, but they burned through so much forest in Canada that there's not a whole lot left to set on fire at this point.
It's all burned up.
It was. Oh
Canada
my God.
is a all of Canada. I think of as like just after a forest fire, like where you have a few standing dead trees, and that's Canada to me.
It was.
Well, that would be more like Vancouver, but yeah.
It was awful, dude. I mean, like there was like a layer of smog for like over a week.
It was
both
awful.
times.
Yeah, and I live up really, really near Canada, right? And so we got it even worse. Not last year, but the year before it was really bad.
I remember there was one time I was getting off work. I had to work late, and I look up, I look at the moon, and that thing is blood red because of the smog. It was eerie.
Or you had some days where the sun would be going down, and it never really set; it just disappeared behind behind all the smoke.
My brother, last year when he was living out in Spokane, he said like the smog got so bad they had to wear breathing masks to go outside.
Yeah, it got bad.
That's not good. Jeez.
It seems like we should incorporate this into comics at some point.
Well, I mean, it is a podcast, so I think we're allowed to ramble for a little while.
No. I mean that I should do a comic that has
Oh,
fire.
sorry, my bad.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Hey,
all
Michael,
over it is a stage, and that stage can be put into comics.
and Michael,
If you do it, you should. Yes.
I'm looking at I'm looking at the chat right now, and Neostar's asking something for Wicked. That reminds me, still no word from Felipe. Who's Felipe?
Felipe is an artist that I'm actually we're still in talks with, but we've been so busy the last few weeks, we unfortunately haven't been able to get out to him. But rest assured, we will be getting in touch with Felipe very soon. Felipe has some really cool, I believe they're web comics. He has 2 or 3 of them that are got a really cool style. So definitely be talking with him soon. I believe that's who he's referring to.
So which of you guys are down in San Diego right now for Comic Con?
What's that?
Which of you are down in San Diego right now for Comic Con?
I don't think any of us are.
Yeah, too expensive. So very low returns for indie comics.
Yeah, nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded.
Guess how much a table at starting table at that convention costs?
Are they like $7,000?
Not that high, but pretty close. It's about $3,000.
Wow.
Jesus.
Damn.
Yeah.
I assume that I won't ask you for the exact amount, but I assume that the convention you're at is a small fraction of that.
Oh yeah. This is a little bit smaller than Alien Con, I'd say.
Okay.
And Alien Con wasn't like one of those big multi-$1,000 conventions,
Yeah.
But even then, Alien Con was a pretty penny.
Okay.
Wasn't no cakewalk, but
I mean, 3,000. It's like, yeah, that sounds about, because like here at Fan Expo, which is like the third or fourth biggest con outside of like New York and Dragon Con, it's like it costs about 2,000, 2,500 for a baseline table. It's about the same.
Holy
Jeez.
guacamole.
Like, even if we did get a table at San Diego, there'd be no point because San Diego Comic Con it's become a glorified press release for the movies and TV shows.
Pretty much.
There's like there's no reason to go there if you're an up and comer, or you're an independent publisher. There's just no reason to go.
Well, I mean, if you're spending a lot of money, just throwing money around and want to get noticed,
You're throwing a whole lot of money and you're not going to get much of a return. You're just going to get squashed out by the big two.
I mean, you talk to like, I don't know. Fan Expo tends to be a little more forgiving. It's a little, because it is not. I mean, it's a month after Comic Con, and while it is one of the bigger cons, it's like it's a little more forgiving, probably because of the way it's set up. I mean, I know the Aspen Comics, Blake Northcott's affiliated through them. They had a table right next to DC at last year at FanX, and that worked out a lot better for them because they managed to get at least as far as to my knowledge, they were able to get quite a few more sales out of it.
yeah.
So
But
interesting.
if you guys wanted to try Fan Expo, or you might actually have a better shot at that than say like San Diego.
We'll check it out. Yeah, definitely. I appreciate the heads up on that.
No problem.
Yeah, Canada would be a fun place. I've never been to Canada before.
Well, Toronto is like, Toronto is Toronto. It's kind of like a lot of people call it New York light, and it's very easy to see why.
Yeah, I can agree on that.
Isn't Toronto the place that plays every other city in a movie?
Yeah, that or Vancouver, one or the other. And these days, nowadays, it's the home of Star Trek Discovery, Titans,
So nothing to heard of.
Umbrella
And
Academy, Shazam, and some shows. Movies.
And then I believe that TV show Psych, it says it takes place in Santa Barbara, but I believe they filmed in Vancouver. I think.
Yeah, Vancouver is a huge mecca.
Vancouver is Hollywood North, and then Toronto would be like New York North. So
yeah,
They shoot everything in Vancouver and Toronto because it's cheaper. Amazingly.
well,
That's really funny.
yeah.
well, it's also because of the massive subsidies that the various governments have made available.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. So they've incentivized people to be able to do that.
Yeah,
I'm
they're just
also,
like,
I'm also
"Here,
pretty sure.
take our money, take our money.
And yet Toronto, and yet it's hilarious because like unless like outside of Scott Pilgrim versus the World and Charger, cheap plug, Toronto does not get a lot of recognition as a major city.
Well, it kind of does. You just doesn't get recognized as Toronto.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. It's like we double as every other. We're the stunt double of. We're the like if cities are characters and stories, we're the stunt double for everything.
Yeah, but it kind of reminds me of like where you have there are a few professional sports teams that are in New Jersey, but they call themselves New York.
Yeah.
Right. And so like New Jersey is paying out the nose in taxpayer subsidies, and they don't even get the name.
Yeah, I think the only one who get like the only Jersey title, I think, is the hockey team, the Jersey Devils.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like, and that's it. It's like otherwise.
Yeah.
We're actually supposed to be Seattle's actually getting its own NHL team for the 2021 season actually, and they posted about the GM very recently. Let me pull up his name. I think it was Ron Francis.
Okay.
Yeah, Ron Francis. I think it's his name.
Go ahead.
I'm pulling it up. Yeah, I was right. Ron Francis is the general manager for the Seattle NHL team.
Okay.
Nice.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna be fun. I don't really like going down for Mariners games or Seahawks or Sounders games, but I probably will go down for a hockey game or two a year.
Yeah. Yeah. Here he is. He's a former Canadian professional hockey player.
Cool.
He played centerman. Here's his teams. He played for. I'm pulling him up right now from his Wikipedia page. He played for Pittsburgh, Carolina, and Wes is going to get a kick out of this. He played for Toronto.
Well, of course he did. Speaking of which, so what are the subjects for this afternoon?
I don't think we had one.
We're just kind of shooting the shit.
More or less.
We'll be happy to know that we've gotten some more pages back from for Charger. I gotta post an update on the Indiegogo at some point this afternoon. But yeah, there's some more artwork that has come back. It just we're making progress. It's just I don't know what's going on with Troy, but he's been doing his thing. He's been getting his life sorted out. Hopefully he can and hopefully we can get this these shenanigans on the road. Then we can start worrying about things like the tier rewards and all that.
Yeah, I hope he's got a place now.
I think he does. I mean, I remember seeing pictures. I remember seeing pictures of a studio he's got. It's like a studio office.
Nope.
Okay.
He's got a studio now. But one thing you don't have to worry about with Troy is that he is not going to leave you hanging.
No.
Oh yeah, no. It's just him living in his vehicle was something I didn't want to see continue.
Yeah, the timing of it completely screwed up production, and I can't not even just for Charger, but also for Wanpool and Rat and all of his other books. It's I really can't get English, can't give him shit.
Yeah.
It's just
that's a tough spot.
I mean, it's like me, the other week, this week, where I just literally lost my job and everything just got upended. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just that's kind of sort of the. To be honest, as much as we want to think that we're in control, I mean, we are sort of at the mercy of real life, and you never know what's going to happen. And the best, and you can only try and make the most out of a bad situation and hope it gets better.
Pretty much.
Mike Tyson said it best. He said, "Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face."
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, as long as you communicate to your backers what the situation is and keep them updated, they'll be fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, most of my backers are on my Twitter, so they already know the shenanigans that typically through me tweeting about it. But yeah, I'm going to be posting an update with because we got a preview
Guys,
picture.
I have to head. There's a wedding related thing. But you've seen the thing. I'll be in touch. Yep.
Cheers,
I can't
man.
wait to get the thing, so send the thing.
Do the thing, all the things.
Come on, things, man, things.
I think Matt, Dan, and I have been sort of dominating the conversation for the past few episodes. I mean, we still Wes and Aaron haven't exactly had a lot of time to talk about what they're doing.
Sure. Do you want to talk a little bit about what your project is? What's your status is, Aaron, right now, and what you guys are doing with
well,
your?
I guess I can. Mine won't take that long.
I'm sure if you want to, yeah, that's fine. Go for it, man.
As I said a few seconds ago, Charger is making progress. I think we're on page 17 or 18 of 30, and there's 30 pages. I think it's 16. Sorry, I just went back and looked at the notes, and then I have to say I just sent them off recently to Catherine for inking. She also did a color preview that, like I said, I'm going to be posting that in the on the update later this afternoon on Indiegogo once I actually get around to posting it on Indiegogo. Well, but after that, we also. I also ZVT Music also recent. This was about a month ago or so. Maybe he actually did a theme song for Charger, and it's gonna. We're actually. I guess we'll do an announcement right now. The theme song is available to listen to on YouTube, but everyone who's back because we're taking the better half of forever. Everyone who's backed the book is gonna get an MP3 download copy of the theme song.
Very nice.
So that will be. We'll throw that in there just. For a free, I'll throw that off as a one-off freebie. If there are any other freebies that happen to come along the way, then we will do that, and we will get that off to the races. And then,
what kind of a song is it? Is it like a rock song or electronic?
No, it's more of a. Yeah, it's like I said. You can find it on YouTube if you're curious. It is more of a classical. It's much more classical. I always describe it as kind of like the theme song to an animated series. You could feel that this could actually, or an end credit, or an intro, or an end credit.
Okay,
and that's what it kind of. Yeah, that's what it more feels like. Like I said, it is available on YouTube to be listened to now, but but backers will get a free download out of it. We'll get a free MP3.
Nice, man. That's really cool. I'm looking it up right now. Let's see. But yeah, no, he's done some good stuff with some of the different Wikid creators. He's very talented.
Indeed.
Okay, well.
Let's go.
And how are the pages coming through for?
Well, like I said, I already finished. We're on there's 30 pages, and then of course I have to do the 2 title cards, and then but after the intro, the backer card, and then the actual title card. But Troy actually, I think it was last week, he sent me out page 16, and we're just and then I sent them all off to Catherine. So I just we're kind of 30 pages. He's got another 14 to go. I sent him a message last night for an update. I'm just waiting on an update from him for pages 17 and maybe more. I don't know if he's busy, but I'm not going to push him too hard.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll, like I said, I know it's slow, but life goes on. By the grace of God, go on.
Now Neostar asks, wasn't Troy able to find a studio?
I think we mentioned this earlier in the podcast. Yes, he was.
Okay.
I believe he has a studio office. As far as I know, I'm not going to speak for him. I am absolutely not going to speak for him. But to my knowledge, I believe he has. I could not be sure. I do know he has a studio office. I've seen the pictures, but that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Hey man, any place with a roof on it's improvement. So good to get him back in there. But that's great, man. I'm glad to hear the progress is coming along on your comic. It sounds like you guys are.
I've been sending to you guys to Wikid directly. You guys have seen progress.
Yeah, we've been seeing some of the pages come back, and man, they're looking great. Yeah. They really are. Troy is just on fire right now.
Oh yes.
Well, if you pretty much said everything, Wes.
That's all I've had to. That's all I really have to update on the Charger front. Yes, for now.
Okay, then. So, Aaron, how about extractors?
Yeah. So, extractors we're chugging along on. We kind of hit a little snag because we got noticed by Ethan Van Sciver, and he suggested that we improve our inking on our project. So Vic is going back through the original pages and re-inking everything. And
how much was done? How much was done up to that point?
No,
Thank you, man.
Sorry,
go ahead. Sorry about that.
We have 13 pages done. We'd have a lot more done if we didn't go back, but we decided to go back and redo those early pages to make them a lot better. And the results are pretty good so far. Definitely a lot. The line work is a lot heavier, and there's a lot more gradients to the line work. So, yeah, we're a little bit behind as far as where we thought we would be on pages, but the product's a lot better. And then the other update we've got is we have a Nerd Wonder alternate cover that is a a little chibi picnic scene, and that is being colored right now, but Nerd Wonder did the line work for it, so that's going to be going up on the campaign pretty soon.
I guess if you had to sort of ballpark it, how long do you see this taking?
Well, we have our goal set for fulfillment in November, and we can still make it if we just gotta ride Vic, ride Vic pretty hard. It's a little bit hard to tell because we're new, so we're still hopeful and confident we can hit that goal. It might be a moot point anyways because the campaign hasn't really taken off that strongly. So hitting that deadline might not be as important as just making the book quality, because we're probably going to have to go again, or we're going to have to just go ahead and let Wikid do their thing because, as you guys know, we signed with Wikid to do the publishing. So, yeah.
I mean, I can kind of relate to that because I thought Victor would have all the pencils and inks done for by the middle.
Oh, there you are.
Say what? Okay, what my train of thought was I thought Victor would have all the pencils and inks done by the middle of July, and we're already halfway through July, and he's just now, and I've only got 4 pages inked by him yet, but he tells me that he's working every free moment he's got, and he said he should have it, if he can keep up a good pace, he should have it done within a month. I just at this point this is the point where you just gotta have faith in your art team.
Yeah, you just gotta keep trying.
Yeah, as the writer, I feel that like I'm at the mercy of my art team. So it's like I'm completely at mercy of Troy and Catherine. So
I don't know. Like I said, you just gotta give them a little faith. Is all.
Brett, when is your fulfillment supposed to be? Like, when's it set?
Matt, Dan, and I settled on September 21st for a release.
Yep.
How many pages is your book?
I think I got like 36.
I have 24, and there are 8 pages remaining.
And I have 20.
Oh, you're on a good track then, Dan.
Yeah, well, I had an advantage because I had about 10 pages complete before we began the crowdfunding campaign. So I had a bit of a head start because I was funding it largely out of my pocket before the campaign.
Yeah,
I funded a lot of ours out of pocket too, but we just keep falling behind because Vic keeps wanting to make the book better and redrawing stuff. And then when we got the feedback from Ethan, then we had to like really take a hard look at the art because he was saying that we almost had a really professional looking product. We just had to fix like that one major thing. So that, I wanted to listen to that feedback because anyone that's been a pro for that long, you kind of got to listen to them.
Yeah, when it comes to comic book art, someone like Ethan is a good source of what will work for a professional piece. I mean, he definitely has the experience, he's got the skill, and that definitely is his forte. So I would listen as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, whatever your feelings on Ethan Van Sciver, positive or negative. I mean, the guy's been in the business for over 20 years, right? So,
and in addition, whatever you think of him, he is one of the premier pencilers working today. So if he gives you advice in that vein, then you'd do well to take it.
Yeah, that's what we did. We definitely thought that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like I can't fault you guys for making that decision.
Yeah, it's like
I think the readers the people who are buying the book at such like you guys have good price points on yours, but ours is a little bit higher. But for people, they're spending that much on a book, you kind of, if you need to sacrifice a little bit of your time to get it the way it needs to be, you kind of have to, even if it jeopardizes your shipping date. Because I think a lot of people too understand that most people understand if you're a little bit late on a crowdfund, if they understand what the circumstances are.
Yeah, just be open with your backers and tell them, like, here's what happened, here's our new time frame, and this is your brand, so there's no sense in releasing something less than your best, because it's not just for this one book, it's for every book that comes after with your name on it.
Right.
Yeah, I think we've sort of got the advantage that most of our backers migrated over to our Discord server, so we can update them in real time, but we still post updates on our Kickstarter.
Yeah, I've been kind of posting links to our weekly podcast as updates, because at the very beginning of each of the shows, we tell them where we're at and any issues that we're facing in the production of the books. So I think that's the most efficient way to do it. So just watch the first 10 minutes of the podcast, and that's where we're at. If there are any issues, I make sure to let them know. But so far, I think there's only been one minor hiccup in production, and that was on the Mythic side, where Bethy worked from a previous draft of the script. But it's my understanding that was rectified pretty quickly because Beth is a machine.
I am very surprised I'm still very surprised that she was able to get 17 sketch pages in a few hours.
God damn. I'm gonna stand. You know what? I am gonna stand by what I said. She is the hardest working woman in comics.
She's definitely the hardest working woman in our circle.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think so if someone can point to me another female comic artist that is working about as hard as Beth is, I'll concede. But yeah, I'm standing by that.
Of course you are.
So we're just a few minutes away from the convention opening up. Everyone's got their stuff out on the tables. I'm across from a wall of Funko Pops. I'll have to show off what I can see from here at some point.
Yeah, sure. Okay, who invited the spirit of dead air?
Yeah.
I thought that was you.
I'm actually currently typing up the update for Charger number 1 as we speak, so that's kind of why I kind of went radio silent.
No,
we don't have Cody to just run and run and run.
Oh yeah, he's kind of the master of that.
He's busy today.
Yeah, he is.
Yep.
He is.
Probably flying on a hot air balloon or something.
Probably. I guess I don't know. I mean, we probably could bring up this that it was something that happened over Twitter. Apparently, one of the characters from the Mythoverse has now been christened by one of our Discord members.
Michael, mute yourself. Okay, what now?
Yeah.
So one of the Mythoverse girls has been christened Best Girl by one of our Discord members.
Oh my!
Was this the one that was recently looted?
No. Although
attempts to make her lewd.
Without going into let's just go without going into too much detail. Let's just say the person behind this, and this was actually kind of flattered.
Wow.
Well, she laughed. If that's
Mecha Studios, what's good? Wikid Publishing.
Hey, Mecca, how's it going?
Some shenanigans have been going down. They've been flying.
Well, I guess I could mention the Mythoverse audio cast that we have in production. If we're not talking about anything else, we gave it a tentative name, Narratus Mythologica. But we probably are planning to have a contest in which the community can offer up any suggestions for the name. Basically, it's going to be a monthly audio cast in which we have narrated side stories set in the Mythoverse. The first of which is the story of a runaway who has a run-in with Adobe Kroger. And the voice actress should have that complete by Friday of this coming up week. And I'll be doing all the post-production on that, adding music, sound effects, environmental stuff. Should be pretty neat. We're trying to capture the spirit of an old-school radio play where there's narration and different characters being voiced by different actors, and incidental music and appropriate sound effects. So I think Brett is also working on a short story set on the Changeling side, and Matt is working on his portion will consist of sort of world building. Is that correct, Matt?
Yes, it is. So
Okay.
I figured that people love reading more about the world that the stories are set in.
Yeah, I likened it to, think in terms of Tolkien's appendices, like his Concerning Hobbits thing at the end of Lord of the Rings, where he just talks about Hobbit society. Something along those lines, where we describe different aspects of the world, the different factions, the different organizations, the different races, little bits of information about them. So it's a way to flesh it out a bit more, make it feel a little bit more real and a bit more relatable.
And what platform will your audio cast be on?
To start, it'll be on YouTube. I'm going to publish it on iTunes, and I'm going to push it in the podcast community as well.
Nice.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And our end goal with it is to, once we have enough material, we're going to publish it on Amazon as an ebook, branded for the Mythoverse, as well as an audiobook. So that's why I'm hiring voice actors, like real top of the line pros. I'm really investing quite a bit of resources and effort into this because I want it to be really good. So I basically want my Adobe Kroger novel and audiobook to be part of a stable of Mythoverse related products, and this is going to be the first of those new products.
That sounds great.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to the first episode.
So you're funding that out of pocket too?
Largely, yes. There was unfortunately all the money from the crowdfunding campaign has been spent, but we are initially funding this out of pocket, and it is our intention with our Patreon and Subscribestar that we launched a couple of weeks ago to help us pay for this stuff.
Okay.
In addition to the weekly webcomic we have up at mythoversecomics.com. Speaking of which, is there any script after the most recent one I saw finished?
Yeah, I just wrote one the other day.
Okay, does she have it? Is she aware of it?
I don't think yes and no. I actually did. What kind of happened was, it was when Matt and I were playing GTA Online, and then Antonella DM'd me in the middle of it, and I guess just bouncing ideas. I guess for some reason, like, I just sort of had an idea click in my head.
Oh yes, you discussed that one with me. That was really cool. Yeah. I like that one.
So what's going on is that in the Mythochibis webcomic, it sort of depicts Maeve and Adobe having a more adversarial relationship. And so I decided to sort of throw a bit of a curveball and write in one where they're actually having a bit of a bonding moment, but it's over an ultra-violent GTA knockoff. And obviously Althea is going to barge in and say, "You should not be letting her play that." To which Adobe is going to say back, "It's just a game."
And this is funny because this kind of reminds me of, has everyone watched Cobra Kai?
I have. I haven't seen season 2 yet. I've only seen season 1.
Okay, great. Well, there's a moment in season 1 where Johnny and Daniel have something of a bonding moment over an REO Speedwagon song. And you kind of say, hey, they actually can get along if they find their common ground. And that's kind of what's happening here. Adobe and Maeve have their common ground over an ultra-violent video game, and they smoke the proverbial peace pipe for a moment.
Yeah.
But the real kicker is the final panel is you just zoom in on Maeve's face, and you can just see her. She's just absorbing all that video game violence when it's like a sponge.
And kids do that. I mean, my 1-year-old will literally copy my mannerisms to the point where I point at something with, like, instead of using just my pointer finger, I do a gun thing when I point at things. And that's how he points at everything. He points with a gun instead of with his finger. Like, you never know what they're absorbing. You really got to be careful the way you act around kids.
Yep. I think as a follow-up, I'm gonna have Althea sit maybe in front of like a children's educational show that's like clearly supposed to be a riff on Barney the dinosaur, and Adobe's gonna be like, that's just gonna rot her brain. Althea's gonna say it's educational.
So now, Adobe is like she's a knight, right?
Yeah, she's she's a paladin, a holy magic wielding warrior. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So she's involved in violence and things. Is Maeve involved in violence?
Yes and no. Like, so, I mean, let me put it this way: like, compared to Mythics and Adobe Kroger, like, she's more or less confined to her hometown in Aberdeen. There's occasional monsters, attacks and stuff, but it sort of stays in that space, at least for the most part. So
I guess it's safe to say that violence happens to her. She doesn't happen to violence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
she finds herself mixed up in it.
Yeah.
She doesn't go looking for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
it's more of a passive character as far as that part goes.
Yeah. I suppose you could say that. Hey, then like I said, she's just she's not exactly looking for trouble. It just finds her.
Okay, I'm just trying to wrap my head around the story. That's all.
Yeah, I get. That's
just because I know like they're all in the same universe and all that. So
Yeah, I think Brett summarized it succinctly enough where you can say Changeling is like Buffy, Mythics is like a Hellblazer, and Adobe is like Hellboy.
okay.
Yeah.
Whereas Adobe is
Cool.
a blunt instrument that gets things done very straightforwardly. Althea is a bit more cerebral, uses her strategic thinking a bit more, and Maeve is just a teenager in a town surrounded by supernatural occurrences that occasionally encroach on real life, and you just got to deal with them.
Yeah.
All right, so I just posted an update to Charger number 1. There's also a new preview picture that comes with it. You get to see what Charger looks like outside of his costume for the first time.
Oh, that's neat.
So
Yeah. Drop a link to that tweet in the Wikid chat, and I'll
it's
tweet
not a tweet. It's an Indiegogo, but it's to the Indiegogo directly.
Oh, okay.
But I did put it in the campaign update, so there is an update. However, I can tweet out. Actually, you know what? I am going to tweet out what the picture looks like. So I'm going to post that along with the updates. So just for fun.
Hey, question. Did anyone see that Dan DiDio quote that was making the rounds on Twitter about how...
Oh, God.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
All I have to say is shut up. As an amateur comic book writer, shut up, Dan. Just
like he seems a little salty that that reprints of older stories sell better than the new stories.
Maybe if you didn't fucking screw up what you actually had going for you, aka DC Rebirth, you had something good going for you. It's like you literally had something good going in DC Rebirth, and then you decided to kick Jeff off of everything, and then you decided to put your own shit, and then you fucked it up. That's on you, Dan. The problem is not the creative project and making new content. DC Rebirth is an example of new content that worked. It's you. The problem is you. Now, granted, Rich Johnston did not have the fucking right to do what he did at your wedding. I'll give you that. I will give you that till my dying day. But you, Dan, are everything that is wrong creatively with DC right now. You're part of the problem.
So Tom King is his.
How do you really feel?
I think he died.
I think he had a heart attack.
He had a I think we rest in peace, man. That's all I can say.
So according to Wes, Tom King is Dan DiDio's fault.
Well, yeah, he's the one who hired him, and he also brought on Brian Michael Bendis. He brought on friggin' what's her face, G. Willow Wilson on Aquaman. Did you guys read that? The refugee quote, that picture that Perch actually posted the other day? Or actually, it was literally like they try to make. He tried in the same comic. G. Willow Wilson tries to make friggin' there's Kelly Sue DeConnick. Sorry, it's an Aquaman book. My bad, Kelly. But that again, Kelly Sue DeConnick. She tries to make a jag at friggin' Trump supporters with the refugee thing, and then in the exact same book, not even 3 pages later, she turns around and is anti-refugee, and we forget that Themyscira has a thing for killing men. So it's like, no, Dan, every bad creative decision we can all trace back to you. You. And you've been here since what? Late 90s? Early 2000s? How many bad creative decisions have you been involved in at the core? New 52, trying to kill Nightwing and Infinite Crisis?
No, there is a thing. I mean, like when you're the thing they don't tell you about management is that when you're in charge, everything is your fault.
Yeah, except that every time he gets involved in creative decisions, which we can trace back. I mean, look at DC Rebirth. They basically took the creative reins out of his hands, gave it to Jeff Johns, and then DC Rebirth happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I'm literally oversimplifying it to the nth degree, absolutely, as an outsider. I'm fully aware that I'm oversimplifying it, but it's there. It's clear as day.
By the way, he's been at DC since 2002.
Thank you. Okay, so yeah, if that would be right around the time Infinite Crisis and all the other bad, stupid shit that was coming around. There we go.
Yeah, he joined. Here's the funny thing: he joined as VP.
Huh. So Identity Crisis, Infinite Crisis, New 52, Countdown.
Yeah, that was a mess.
Yeah, every bad creative decision you can trace back to him. like I said, I thought what Rich Johnston did to him on his wedding day, though, when he posted that shitty article, like, I'm with Ethan on that one. That was low. Like, that was a new low. I mean, you don't bring in you don't take your professional life and your personal life and treat them as the same thing. They're not.
Yeah.
What goes on in my real life has nothing to do with what goes on here.
Yeah.
And so that's why I wear a hood, so to speak. I don't show my face typically.
And that's why I don't really talk about my personal life either. It's like the way I see it, it's nobody's.
I mean, I'll tell it to you guys in the private chat because we're all having fun. We're all kind of friendly enough. But that's different, you know?
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm talking about my personal life, like just because for one, it's not unless it impacts production. Like
it's not relevant.
Nobody
it's not
needs
relevant to what you're doing.
Yeah, unless it impacts production, no one needs to know.
Yeah, that's behind the scenes. Like, no, like, that's internal stuff. And I completely understand that. Like I said, my heart goes out to Dan and his wife for what happened, what Rich did, which was friggin' the lowest of the low.
Unprofessional.
What did he do?
Well, he basically he did a hit piece article, literally shit posting Dan, saying Dan can't be happy on his wedding day because he doesn't make DC characters get weddings.
Oh.
Is it over the Batwoman wedding controversy?
It was the Batwoman controversy. It was the Batman wedding thing. It was everything. So basically, superheroes can't be happy, so Dan can't be happy.
Yeah.
So where's that for Joe Quesada? I mean, it seems like a double standard, considering that he seems to let Marvel slide a lot.
But yeah, that was what happened. It was like, that was. I mean, what Rich did. It's like Rich Johnson. It's like, Rich, you're an asshole. You're a scumbag. Everyone knows you're a scumbag, and they only use you and they use you as a prop.
We've known this about Rich Johnston for a long time.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard. I have on good authority that there are comic pros that even though Rich thinks he's buddy with them, they wouldn't piss on him to put out a fire.
Even Mark Waid hates
I believe it.
Actually, speaking of Mark Waid, I had to explain to somebody who is a comic book fan but had no idea of the inner workings of what behind the scenes was about the lawsuit and all the other shenanigans that Mark's pulled, because they took a picture of them and I went, Marky Mark, I hope you get sued. And they go, sued? And he goes, sued? And then I had to explain to him what happened.
Oh, he's definitely getting sued.
Oh, yeah. I hope he loses. I hope he loses. I really do. I hate this. I mean, I know that's unprofessional of me to say it. I know that, but I don't care.
I'm not a lawyer, but looking at it, but from looking at it with a bird's eye view, I guess the evidence does not seem to weigh in his favor.
Nope.
Even Mark Zaid has gone radio silent. Then again,
he just wanted the publicity.
No, of course.
Yeah, but
I don't think he's even the main counsel, is he?
I believe he is.
Is he?
Yeah.
At first he was acting like it, and then it seemed to me like he just. I don't know. There's more. I know there's more lawyers than just him. But I don't know how it works exactly.
Well, based on how people like Mark Waid think, Zaid's probably the main counsel because he's taking on the government.
Oh,
Marquez Zaid Esquire, done, done, done.
I just found something on Didia's Wikipedia page that is going to kill Wes in the soul. Wizard Magazine recognized him as its first ever Man of the Year in 2003.
All right, so I just tweeted out and tagged Wikid and all that. Guys can now see what Matt McCutcheon looks like in his civilian identity for the first time.
Awesome. That's awesome, dude.
Nice.
Just went out now.
I feel disappointed that Wes is not groaning.
About what?
That Dan Didio was named Wizard Magazine's first ever Man of the Year in 2003.
I'm not groaning. That's funny. But then again,
Wizard...
it was a 1 year difference, and DC did have decent sales in 2002, so it's like, okay, fine. But, with the context of history, it's like, that's funny.
By that point, like, Wizard was always kind of I don't know. They weren't really like straight news, but by then time, what was it, 2002 or whatever?
Yeah, I think so.
But I mean, by then, Wizard magazine was like dead, pretty much. You know,
they were literally hanging out by the skin of their asses on those like documentaries that kept cropping up on like DVD features.
Yeah.
Like Wizard magazine was just trying to like, they were just trying to like, like all their covers started being movies and like superhero movies and stuff, and the whole magazine changed. You know.
Well, hopefully we're gonna change that with Wikid magazine. Bring something back.
Yep. Speaking of that, I need to submit my material before they go to print, so I'm gonna get on that right now, and I'm gonna head out, guys.
All right, Dan.
Thanks.
for joining us, man.
Thank you.
Later.
What is
All right,
everyone's impression of our resident our superhero civilian identity?
It looks good.
Yeah.
Troy and Catherine, once again, they hit a home run.
I know. Yeah, it's kind of like with what I get with Victor and Ginger. It's just like, and I mean, I don't know about US, but like I've caught to this on multiple times, but I sort of just rolled the dice with Victor and Ginger, and it turned out to be a bet that paid off.
Well, actually, like Catherine does. If you actually notice the chibi art, that's actually on the chat's profile. Whenever time I pop up on the screen, that's actually all Catherine. This is 100% Catherine's artwork.
Yeah.
So this is 100. Neostar, go to my Twitter page at Charger Collins. You get to see it. I also posted out updates to everybody else.
Oh,
so go straight to my Twitter page for some information. The campaign for the updates. Well, hang on. I think the email should have gotten out to you guys. Not sure why.
I look at Michael. White box yourself.
Let's see if I can get this.
There we go. I can see it. We can see it on the feed.
Yeah.
So yeah, here's the sort of All right, I can't send the link, but I'm gonna post it here in this little chat window here. So
yeah, Wes, we get the feed.
Yep, there we go. Sweet.
So this was done by Troy, or
Troy did the main art, and then Catherine did the coloring.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's
nice.
But yeah, I guess so. Was it kind of a similar thing with US, where you just kind of rolled the dice and it paid off?
Well, in Catherine's case, Catherine actually came on the project before Troy did, because I was looking for because I was in that transition phase. Because I mean, anyone who knows the story of Charger and how it came to be kind of knows that I've been jonesing for artists for years. And Catherine had a decent price range, and I was looking for someone who could update a sketch that was given to me as a gift. And I really, really liked it. And so I said, all right. Well, then we just tweaked it and adjusted it. And then I designed the chest emblem. And then all of a sudden she wanted to stay on the project, but she had her own projects like Crank Rats and Nyx and all that other stuff. And so I had to go find new artists. And then after some finagling, and there's a story around that, Troy got on the project. And then I wanted to keep Catherine on out of kind of loyalty, because she really kind of helped mold Charger to what he looks like today. And so she stayed on as the colorist and the letterer of the project. And all of a sudden, boom, here we are. And it just so happens that Troy's art and her coloring was a perfect marriage.
Yeah, like I said, that's kind of the same thing with Victor and Ginger, just because like I'm gonna pull up something from the Discord, just because it's gonna show kind of a difference between the way Victor colors and the way Ginger colors. I think it was in the fan art gallery, right, Matt?
I think so.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, this looks like I said, I'm just a huge fan of their style. I mean, this is actually, believe it or not, this sketch that you see here, this is also this is cut out from an actual page in the book. So this is actually, I believe this page or a version of this you will see in the book. We just cut this out and just kind of are going to be using and just cleared. Troy cut it out, cleaned it up, and made it good for a preview as well. So it's gonna be this. It's not like we're doing this as like custom. This is going to be in the book. So.
Hey, Michael, can you white box me? Sure. Share button is not working on my end for some reason. That's weird.
Try now.
I'm trying to get. Oh, there we go. All right, so yeah, this was a little commission that Tank had done with Maeve and one of his characters, Anya, from his novel.
Yep.
Yeah, and this was all. This is all 100% Victor. Everything down to the coloring.
Oh, nice.
And
That's very cool.
Yeah, and as you can see, like Victor's style is more of a cell shading than Ginger. Like Ginger throws in a little bit more depth and gradients. Like it's
it's a little bit more like an anime cartoon.
Yeah, that's actually a good way of putting it. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, it's very anime inspired. I can clearly see that.
It reminds me of the old Dragon Ball Z, or like the Dragon Ball Z anime, you know?
Yeah, but as you can see on the Indiegogo campaign and on the actual and technically on our little chat here, the chibi art is 100% Catherine. So this is pure Catherine's art style, which is very drastically different from Troy's, but it just so happens that her coloring style blends perfectly with Troy's style as well. So I wanted to keep her on the project. And they're actually, I probably should announce. I think I announced this on the last time I was on the podcast. They're both going to be back for issue 2 once we get that on the road. So once issue 1 is in the can and the backers get all their projects, which should be coming soon, courtesy of Wikid. Dun dun dun.
All right. Okay. Now here's a recent pick that I got done by both of them. So yeah. Line art was Victor, coloring was Ginger, and you guys can see that there is a difference between their styles.
Oh yeah, like one is much more smooth and much more, I would say, Disney, and the other is much more traditional anime.
Yeah, like I said, Victor's coloring style is more cell shaded.
Yep, it's very much. Yeah, this is very much. It feels much more Disney.
Yeah, well, that's because like Ginger says, a lot of her influences are cartoons, especially My Little Pony.
Well, that's CalArts, and that's a little,
No, it is not.
I'm not a fan of CalArts. I mean, I'm not a fan of CalArts, but like Troy is going to give me shit for that. Troy is absolutely going to give me shit for that. But, I'm not a fan of the CalArts style. But it did make me laugh. He actually recently did like a Marvel Girls, Summer of Marvel Girls, and Charger appears in that. Makes a cameo in that.
And for the record, even I'm not a fan, but I will say that My Little Pony is actually a much better show than it has any right being. Like, it is. Look, they did not have to. Let me put it this way: all it had to do was be a cutesy cartoon about talking ponies. But no, there's actual world building, actual conflict, actual character development. It's better than it has any right being. But yeah,
I only know like the old like 80s version.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it since then.
Yes. Well, yeah. I'm just trying to make a point with Wes, but yeah.
It's fine.
But yeah, the thing is, like,
just give my.
I know, but yeah, you guys can see like how well their two styles sort of mesh together.
Yeah, that picture right there, that looks great.
Yeah.
And like it looks fantastic. It's very, very it's different from the traditional style of comic book art, or it's even different from like I would call the Tumblr art, which is a good thing. So it's very detailed, and yet it's not the Tumblr art style. You know what I mean?
No, this is very good artwork.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, that's just it. Like I said, I completely rolled the dice on both of them, and it just turned out it worked really well. And the reason why I ended up tapping Ginger was because I knew that Changeling was going to be a book that would live and die on its aesthetics, and I needed some atmospheric coloring. And like I said, this is not to knock Victor, but that kind of sort of coloring style just isn't in his wheelhouse. And so I put out like a call, and I think Ginger was like the only person who really responded. I took a look at her work, and I just decided, okay, let's give it a shot and see how it goes. And it worked. Yeah. I would say Ginger's coloring really adds a lot of depth and complexity to Victor's line work.
I had a hell of a time finding colorists. Like, actually, like one of the very first people who was going to be that answered the call when I was looking for colorists for Extractors was Beth.
Really?
It was Comicsgate. She didn't want to do the project. And then
Why, because it was Comicsgate or something like that?
yeah, once she found out I was Comicsgate, she didn't want to. And I said, well, you know, you're going to be treated good. Like, I'm not going to discriminate against you or anything. Like, you know,
it's like, you know,
everything's
I
fine. But she said, no, she said, I just can't do it. Sorry. And she was polite and everything, but I was pretty disappointed. Not in her. I was just disappointed that I didn't get her, you know?
Oh, that's kind of a shame. I mean, it's funny. My inker and colorist Catherine is anti-gate, and but having said that, it's like, you know, me and Troy kind of both agreed. It's like, you know what, you know, you don't need a label to want to publish and write comic books. I'm here to make money. I'm not trying to play some stupid, you know. I mean, I have my views on individuals and companies for their bad creative decisions, but like, you know, I don't need a label to kind of say that, yeah, this is stupid, you know. Like, I guess that's kind of my whole take on it. It's just, I guess, you know, I'm not playing the internal drama. I'm not playing ridiculous games. I'm just here to sell a comic book. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, like, if people want to do that, that's their prerogative. They can make money on that. I mean, Ethan at Skyrim can make money on it, for crying out loud. So it's not like people can't do it. They can. But for me, it's just not my bag, you know?
Yeah. Well, I know there isn't most of the, like, really, I think the only Wikid creators that are Comicsgate are me and Canales, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah, I mean, I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people who either used to be or they're sympathetic towards it, but you know, we kind of.
Well, I know, like, Jeremy has a lot of the Jeremy has similar views. I mean, I don't think he's Comicsgate, but a lot of us have, like, similar, like, to me, all Comicsgate means was
Comicsgate was founded, and I'm saying this
originally, it was to try to originally get DC and Marvel to straighten up, and then when we saw that wasn't really happening, people started making their own book.
With Rebirth. It did at DC with Rebirth for a little bit, but then
yeah, you're right,
and that's why, like, Dan's comments piss me off. It's like, Dan, you're an idiot. You are a raging idiot.
At least he did acknowledge that they had a problem. He did. I mean, he didn't take the correct responsibility for it, but he at least acknowledged that there's a problem.
Well, DC, compared to, like, example, Clownfish TV covers this at length, but Disney culture, though, that would happen to include Marvel, they can't admit that they fucked up. They can't do it. There's no bone in their body. They will take the smallest morsel of good news and blow it up to, like, the nth degree to make sure that they don't see the bad news. Whereas DC has a long and very, very vaunted history of screwing it up. But however, the reason people give DC slack in the way they don't give Marvel slack is that DC is willing to admit they screw it up. And whether or not they fix it, they will fix it more often than not. I mean, I said more often than not, but it does take them a little bit. I mean, look, New 52, it took them 5 years to finally rebirth. And sure, that was great for about 2 years. And then Dan got control again and screwed it all up again.
Well, it didn't take them too long to dump their stupid fake Vertigo line.
You know what Marvel...
That was a start.
Do you know what Marvel reminds me of? Like, you guys ever worked a minimum wage job and... Like, yes. If anyone who's worked minimum wage knows what I'm talking about.
Yep.
The managers, they will never admit they've made a bad call, even when it's obvious to everybody, because they have to maintain this image that they always make the right call.
Yeah.
Yep. Right. It's funny because, like I said, Dan DiDio, like people keep saying for years that he's been trying to turn DC into Marvel, and, you know, it's like, it's easy to see why. But another example of why he tries to turn DC into Marvel is that even when he admits there's a problem, he still has to try to make a positive spin on it. It's like, Dan, no, you're the problem. You exclusively, you are the problem. Take your golden parachute and get the hell out of here.
It's just like, yeah, I mean, like, just fuck. I mean, put
all the bad decisions are your fault. Every asshole you've hired, every storyline that have come out of your friggin' company, every dumb licensing and merchandising decision you have possibly made, your fault.
Now, why not just put Jeff Johns or Grant Morrison in charge?
They did. They did. For 2 years, it worked just fine.
Yeah, Jeff Johns really should be running the publishing arm.
They had him in charge. He was the president. I mean, for about 2 years, along with Diane Nielsen, he was the co-president of the entire company. The guy was literally running the ship for 2 years. And what was that 2 years? 2016, 2018. And what were fans claiming between 2016? Oh, yeah, that DC was carrying the entire industry on its back. Yeah, there's a reason for that. Because the product was good. And then Shazam, Aquaman, those were, and technically Wonder Woman to lesser degrees, those were all based on Jeff's ideas. All good shit.
Yeah.
And sure, it's like, oh, but he's on Titans. Yeah, but who also is in charge of Titans? Oh, right, Dan.
Actually, now that I think about it, I mean, like, would Grant Morrison really take over, or is he still working with heavy metal?
I have no idea.
Because I remember years ago reading an article that Grant Morrison was taking over as editor-in-chief of heavy metal.
I don't know.
But honestly, it's like you can trace every bad creative decision to Dan. It's like, Dan, okay, take your golden parachute, go home. You're done. You had a good run. Take your $1 billion retirement like Jeff did, because Jeff got a golden parachute too. Take the golden parachute, go. Go home. Go sit in Cabo, sipping Mai Tais in a lawn chair till you're face down in the mud.
Wow, that's quite a strong sentiment to come back to. Face down in the mud. What did I come back to?
Rant.
Me being ranty pants about Dan DiDio and his bad creative decisions.
Oh boy, sounds like a lot of fun.
Michael's like, what are you guys doing to my channel?
I know.
I'll take. You know what? I'll take responsibility for this because I brought the quote up initially. I'll take the blame for this one.
You're taking the co-host responsibilities today, huh?
Basically.
Yeah. I will own this. I will own this one.
Well, I actually took it as a positive that he actually admitted something was wrong, because at Marvel will never do that. Like, everything's always good. Like, it's good that we canceled this.
Disney culture and Marvel is part of Disney. They forbid you from speaking negative about your company. Like, you cannot say anything negative. You have to take the tiniest morsel of positive and blow that out into the nth degree.
Yeah, it's like back when I worked at Burger King. Even when my managers made a bad call, they would never admit it. And even when it was obvious that everyone knew they made a bad call.
Yep. It's like, dude, what are you doing? And it's like, that is the sad state of Disney culture, and by extension, Marvel and DC. Well, not DC, but Marvel. But DC, that's why I give DC slack, because DC at least is willing to admit they screw up. Yeah. And when they screw up big. They screw up big.
Yeah.
I mean, look at, does anyone remember the DCU initiative that happened during the New 52 era?
I don't. I think I forgot most of that.
It cost, you want much it actually cost DC's publishing arm to actually, do that? Net negative $30 million.
God damn, they lost money on that.
Yep. And that's why Rebirth happened. It's like, what does this sound for? So for 2 years, you have a good thing with Rebirth, and then you do a DCU equivalent, which is this, as Nia start a new Ultimate Marvel project, and you fucked it up. Of course you did. And this is why people make indie comics.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to envy Image a little bit. They're in a position where they never have to admit when they make a bad call, because all they do is publish the books. Anything that goes wrong with the books is down on the individual creator.
Yeah, except Eric Larson's still an asshole, so we're gonna leave it at that.
Well, Eric Larson's also making a porn book.
That's true.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, they're in a very enviable position.
Yeah, other than their books don't sell that good anymore.
Well,
Except for Walking Dead.
Well, Walking Dead's no longer there, so
Yeah, it's over. So, but they can make money off the licensing for the freaking TV show and the merchandise into eternity.
yep.
True, that is true. But it's like, I'm just saying, like, if anything goes wrong with one of their books, it's like they're just saying,
they just wash their hands of it.
yeah, like I said, like, why are you complaining to us? That's the individual creator's problem.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, and that's kind of what Larson does. It's like, yeah, it's like, okay, you're still an asshole. I want you to know that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cop out though, because they, like if anything goes wrong, they can just blame the creator. But at the same time, you have to submit to Image and get accepted by their standards. So I don't really, they're trying to have the best. They're trying to get like the best of both worlds there. They're kind of playing the system a little bit.
I suppose you could say that. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, it's just like when you compare them to like DC and Marvel, they're just in a much more enviable position business wise, where they're not in a position where they have to accept the blame for a bad decision, because like I said, their job is mostly to publish the books. They give their creators enough rope to hang themselves with. So it's like if they have a book that is doing bad, well, you can't really pin it on them.
Yeah, except for they should promote their books better.
That I will concede.
Yeah, I mean, like marketing is.
I totally see what you're saying, though.
I mean, it's funny because the industry was in a brink of collapse in what it's been in the state of brink of collapse multiple times, and it's once again here we are again. But I don't think the media, like I said, as much as Ethan and a lot of other people, I know they're pros, they have experience, they have more shit over people like us. But I get that, I really do. But something tells me that the medium itself is never going to fully die out, because people are going to just find new alternatives to keep the product alive.
Yeah, like Marvel and DC's publishing arms might go away, and
which will break our hearts.
The whole comic store thing might collapse, but there's never going to just not be comic books.
No, or even a comic book industry. It's like, I think, the fact that, Ethan and, friggin' your boy Zach and all those, they all pioneered the crowdfunding concept, which now all of us are using in one capacity or another.
Well, debatable, but
yeah.
I'm sorry, pioneer. No, pioneer is actually not the right word. I mean, it's because technically it's been running for quite a few years at this point.
Yep.
I would say
they are not the first to successfully crowdfund a book.
They've revolutionized it and turning it into basically independent product where it's like now you just go to the actual creator for his product.
Yeah.
Although there's been other people. Brian Polito before them was putting Kickstarters out that were really successful.
And Jimmy Palmiotti's, I think he's crowdfunded multiple books over Kickstarter.
That's why I said it's not like I said they didn't really do, but they turned it into such a business. I mean, to the point where it's like comic book aficionados and journos have to friggin' they have to say, oh yeah, we're making this much money and that. And it's like, and how many people have to point out, yeah, how much of that is actually from crowdfunded books, you jackasses?
Well, the one thing I have to really credit them for is that they managed to get books crowdfunded past $100,000.
Yeah, that's true. Although one thing I am going to sort of say is that I wonder how many people took the wrong lessons from them, though, because this is just how it looks to me. Okay, I see a lot of people who are running books through Kickstarter or Indiegogo, and they just do not seem to have a step beyond that. Like they don't seem to get that this is just step one. This is just the step one in building a brand. This is not like it doesn't matter if you made a gajillion dollars off your Kickstarter. The only thing that matters at the end of the day is how many books you're moving on a monthly basis. Pretty much. This is just this whole thing. The whole thing behind crowdfunding your book is to get basically it's like going to investors. That's what it basically is. You are asking for investment into a brand, and you are trying to convince people that this is worth their money to invest in, that you can build a successful business out of. This is not not the only step. This is just the first one, and I'm wondering how many people actually understand that, or are just looking at all the money they're making off the Kickstarter. I'm thinking they're set for life.
No, it's like, it's because especially those of us who have like enough, like like I said, I have enough stories for 50 issues at least, right? And it's like, and my focus, is on the book, but it's like, but you do realize that books alone are not going to sell it. You do need to think ahead, like your merchandise. Like, I mean, most people are doing trading cards, they're doing T-shirts. Some people actually have enough put away where they can do figurines. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like that scene in Spaceballs. Take that and apply it to comics.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean,
the T-shirt. Yeah,
that's what we're
cereal.
That's what we're trying to do over in the Mythoverse. Like we are trying to build up more like extra content, merchandise. We are trying to we are not just settling with a bunch of comics. We are we are trying to turn this into a brand empire.
It just sucks. Yeah, and I can understand that. It just sucks when the logistics of reality, aka being a working class 20-something living, in the shadow of Toronto, collides with the reality of your situation.
Yeah, I can imagine it's not cheap to live in Toronto.
No, it's not.
There's a reason why they say it's New York for Canada.
Yeah, it's like, so like when you have reality, and of course, not just me, but like the whole team in one way or another, we're trying to just make a living like unto ourselves, and we have day jobs. And the problem is that when you're struggling to make a living and then you have a comic book, it's like, you're kind of living very day to day, and to the point where, it does become a bit of a process, like a process more than people who have a little bit of money tucked away where they can focus on the brand building and all the other stuff, where it's like, not everyone has that capacity because they're trying to figure out how they're going to budget for the next 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're all doing this. Most of us are doing this part-time, and people like Ethan and some of the other people, that's their full-time job,
Yeah, it's like, people like YouTube. There are a lot of YouTubers who have comic books and they have like thousands of subscribers, but they can do it because their full-time job is just doing YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they can do that, but they can justify that. But then there's people like, myself and, Troy and many others. I'm sure even some of you guys, as you said, it's like, we have day jobs, or in my case, I have
a full-time job.
So it's a struggle. Like, it's a real struggle to just kind of keep your head on straight and be able to kind of keep going. Whereas these other people are moving way ahead. Well, yeah, because they have more time on their hands to do it.
Yeah. I mean, like, honestly though, I mean, like,
you got to get yourself to that point, it's just, they had to do it too. Ethan had to do it. Ethan started out just a poor 17-year-old kid making his little frog book.
Yeah. But yeah, the problem is that, like some people got greater head starts. I mean, I was like, I've been writing this book for like 13 years, like since I was like 14 or 15. But even then, it's like writing and drawing are not the same thing. And not everyone has the capacity. And trust me, I tried to draw and I failed miserably.
Yeah, I can't draw either.
I can draw decently, but I just don't have the discipline or the patience to do what Victor does.
Neostar's got it right. Crowdfunding seems to be slightly easier when you have a dedicated audience. And he's right. I mean, friggin' John Malin points this out all the friggin' time in his Twitter feed. If you have a built-in YouTube audience, we're basically, aka where you make a channel entirely on whatever that may be, whether it be bitching or carrying on or something, or you do friggin' internet memes like friggin' PewDiePie. Who the fuck knows? If you do any of those things, crowdfunding's a lot easier. But if you're someone like us who don't have the time to do that, or we don't have the charisma, or we don't necessarily have a hook to get people's attention, then we're basically just kind of just going on the strength of our own material and hoping that other people help build it back up. And Man's channel.
I was going to bring up that when Matt, Dan, and I were running the Mythoverse Kickstarter, we were basically banking on the strength of our books plus the network of people we had. And like something that clicked very early on with me was that it was much better for us to have reliable people than popular ones. Because
funny you mentioned that, because that's how we funded Charger. Charger was a core audience and a core group, and everyone kind of picked up on that, which is funny because that's also the moral of Charger. It's like, would you rather stay true to yourself, or would you rather be popular? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's like, which is also like, it'd be kind of a betrayal to go fully corporate, go full, well, to paraphrase, to go full Ethan Van Sciver, if if I was to just kind of throw balls to the wind and just fucking go completely like do what he does and like be a complete whatever in any direction, I don't really care. I don't, some of Ethan's work is actually pretty funny, but to do that would kind of be a betrayal of the character. It's like, well, you're writing this book about one thing and you're doing the exact opposite. What does that make you?
Pretty much. I mean, like I said, I will never stop admitting this, but I don't think we would not have succeeded. Like Mythoverse would have been dead had we not people behind us like Claylex, like Chuck, like Cody, like Brian, like Vamp,
like Eric.
Like who?
Blind Artist.
Yeah, or Eric. Yeah, like had they not been behind, like had people like them not been behind us, we would have failed.
Ugh, it was sucked, but yeah. Okay, so I gotta download this image.
That's why I keep giving them all the credit in the world, because as much while we did a lot of the heavy lifting, as it should have been, we only got as far as we did because they were there for us.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Without them, we would have been nothing.
Yeah, it's like, whereas like, I had Troy and I had, the Marvelverse group. I had, I had a lot of the guys. Hang on, sorry, I'm just kind of typing something real quick. And like I had all these people, like, and of course I had, the Wikid crew. I had you guys. It's like, and it was a core group of people, and we kind of were just doing our thing,
Yeah, I know. Like, I mean, like, Malin's right when he says it's easier when you've got a built-in audience, but we're proof that if you have reliable people at your back, and you are willing to work your ass off, you can succeed.
Yeah, it's like, it's kind of, and that, like, again, that was the moral of Charger. Charger had a backer, and he was turned into an instant celebrity, and he had all these people, like, he had a built-in audience and all this other stuff. But then, of course, the moral of the first arc, especially in particular, I mean, the theme is kind of persistent throughout the entire series, but especially in the first arc, it's like, eventually he just realizes he's got to go into business for himself. He's just got to do what he does. He can't just do it because it's the popular thing to do. He's got to do it because it's the right thing to do. And and that's kind of the reason. It's like, example, like, I don't have necessarily the charisma. I mean, I'd like to think I do, but in reality, I don't. I don't necessarily have the charisma or in some ways it's just to kind of go on a YouTube channel and bitch about Mark Waid for two fucking weeks or whatever. I don't have that kind of, or to voluntarily just piss a lot of people off when I just want to sell a book. I mean, sure, that'll connect to a certain group, but you want to kind of connect to as many people as you can, right?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, I have a great deal of respect and admiration, and I really, really agree with a lot of the people, like Just Some Guy, like Ethan, like a lot, and like World Class Bullshitters, and they can do all that stuff, and they can, make a lot of money on it, but that's their thing. They have the sense of humor, they have the timing, they have the charisma, they have the experience to do that. I don't necessarily have that. I mean, if I probably worked on it, I probably could. But that also requires a bit of courage that I don't think I have. That Charger does. That Charger might, I don't,
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm hiding behind a mask, for crying out loud. A digital mask.
Technically, we all are.
Huh?
Technically, we all are.
Yeah, the internet's kind of screwy.
We have to hide behind our identity, lest we get doxxed, lest we get all these other horrible things happen to us.
I'm not so worried about getting doxxed. It's just more because it's just more like I just don't want every detail of my life out there.
I mean, I'll probably reveal my identity when it becomes bigger and we have to we have to go out and sell the books at conventions because it's inevitable.
Actually,
exactly. So, it's going to be, I mean, unless you're like, I've already got a built-in audience like Blake Northcott and a couple of others who have already had a built-in audience beforehand and they can go out in public, because no one's going to go in like fucking milkshake or acid milkshake Blake Northcott. No one's going to do that.
It would.
Well, Blake built herself, though. Blake built herself on Kickstarter.
Exactly. Like she kind of like, but it took her a lot. But the thing is, she kind of, I think, I don't know. I haven't followed her career in its entirety, but I do know that, it's not like she didn't have a YouTube channel to kind of just go on a rampage and do that. I mean, yes, that would be I mean, she was doing this before, that became the going rage. I get that. But, if she can do that, then why can't anybody else? I mean,
yeah, true. Yeah. Exactly. No, there's another thing I want to bring up. I can't remember if this was on a Perch video or something, but I remember bringing this up that I thought that I was kind of the opinion that the whole idea of the superstar creator is something that needs to be retired, and it's because I'm of the opinion that the brand is what matters, not the name attached to it. And
yeah, agreed. I mean,
I don't want people buying Changeling because my name is on it. I want them buying it because the book is on, because they like the book.
I mean, granted, a Superman book with Dan Jurgens on it, I'll buy it in a second. I won't even think twice, because Dan Jurgens is like one of the all-time great Superman writers. Or a Frank Miller Daredevil book, I'll buy that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I wouldn't even hesitate. But at the same time, Mike Carlin. Does anyone know who Mike Carlin is?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Mike Carlin was I think he's still an executive for DC now, but he was the senior editor of the Superman books during the Death of Superman era.
Uh-huh.
So Mike Carlin said this. Whenever they would do what they called the super summits, remember, for the record, this is after Byrne. Remember, Byrne was running like the entire Superman line like Bendis is now, right?
Uh-huh.
Except Byrne did it better.
Well, that's hard.
The point is, the people who followed him, Roger Stern, Dan Jurgens, Louise Simonson, all the, John Barnago, I totally butchered his name, Jerry Ordway, all those creative teams, the 4 creative teams in the 4 super books, they had what they would call super summits. Every year they would have their own little mini Comic Con, and they would all get together in a room, in a giant ass room for 3 or 4 days, and just hammer out the next year of Superman stories.
Yeah, X-Men did that too.
Yep. I think they still do it. But it's like, and Mike Carlin had a rule. Even if a superstar artist would come in on the book or whatever, didn't matter. The only one who's allowed to have an ego at the door is Superman. Because it's his character. He's going to be there. He was there before we got here. He's going to be there after we leave. You can fuck off. You're a nobody. You're a caretaker.
Yeah. I've really...
And that's the thing that people, especially modern comics working for the big 2, don't realize. Cena Grace, you're not bigger than Iceman. Iceman is always going to be bigger than you. So don't try. You're trying to be bigger than the book. Gabby Rivera.
He just made himself Iceman. That's pretty all much. He did at his book.
And Tom King, same thing. It's like, I love how, your boy Zach brought this up at there was a Batman panel, I think it was about 1.5 years ago, and Frank Miller fucking took Tom King to task. It's like, Frank granted, he's written great Batman, he's written bad Batman, but at the same time, he doesn't treat Batman as an extension of himself.
Right.
Well, the thing you can say is that Frank Miller made good Batman.
He also made bad Batman. Let's face it, he made Dark Knight 2.
Yeah, but he did do good Batman. So
done good Batman. He's done bad, but then again, so is Tom King. Tom King's done good Batman. He's done bad Batman.
The problem is Tom King's kind of really up his ass.
Exactly. That's the big difference. And that was the big difference between Frank and Tom. They've both done good Batman. They've both done bad Batman. The difference between the two of them is that Frank doesn't treat Batman like an extension of his self-insert.
Yeah.
And I think another big difference is that we remember the good Frank Miller. Nobody seems to remember the good Tom King.
Yeah, it's like, the only
Frank Miller's good Batman was a really fucking good Batman.
Who's Frank's?
Yeah. And
well, it's Tom King. Batman. His Dark Knight 2 was terrible.
Well, yeah,
his top Batman was his best Batman work was really fucking good. Tom King's best Batman was okay, good. It
at least sold well.
I mean, yeah, like the only actual halfway decent story, and I'm not, and for the record, I am in no way, shape, or form comparing the two, for the record, okay? But like, it would be like back in the day. Remember when Batman Hush was first coming out, or when it just finished? Oh, yeah. When Batman Hush just first wrapped up, right?
I think a better comparison is like.
No, let me finish. It would be the equivalent. Like you can make your comparison, but I just want to finish my point. My point is that Batman Hush, like back when people were first reading, they're like, it was good, but it's not this, right? So it's funny because now we go to Tom King's The War of Jokes and Riddles. It's like, it was good, but it ain't Batman Hush. So wait a minute. Back in the day, people were comparing, like, we're doing the same thing to The War of Jokes and Riddles that they are to Hush, but nowadays, Hush is friggin', you know, Hush is the friggin'.
People forget how much Hush actually got shit on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like during the middle of Hush when like people were kind of figuring it out, so they started kind of changing it like as they went, and like Jeff Loeb was kind of just doing weird shit. People were shitting all over that book.
Well, Jeff Loeb, I've always argued, is one of the best, is my personal favorite Batman writers. One of my personal favorites. And because he knows how to do the cinematic and the dramatic aspects of Batman in a way that really speak to you. Especially, however, I think Jeff Loeb needs Tim Sale. Jeff Loeb is nothing without Tim Sale.
Yeah, like his Long Halloween.
I was going to say, though, I mean, like, I think a better comparison where Tom King's Batman is concerned is compare Tom King's stuff with Batman to Scott Snyder. Like,
Scott Snyder's was better.
Scott Snyder, well, not just that. If we're being honest, I think Scott Snyder's stuff it's going to be remembered as classic.
I think it could be. It seems like a lot of people in hindsight are kind of not liking Scott Snyder's Batman.
Well, no,
I've
never really liked Scott Snyder's Batman. I never have. I'm actually one of the people who never really liked Scott Snyder's work because he literally just he'll do like 1 or 2 issues of traditional, and then he'll do this like really big, stupid, super concept, multiverse breaking kind of thing where everything is dependent on this. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Small scale, bitch. Small it down. Batman's a street level superhero. I know he works with the Justice League. Scale it down, bitch.
I'm just saying, what Court of Owls, that's classic.
So good, man.
Yeah, but that's just one good story. You know what I mean? I hate to say it. And then the Black Mirror. Sorry, I take it back.
I actually thought Dark Knight's Metal, the actual main series, I actually liked it a lot. But that's just me.
I mean, I would say, I mean, like, if you're gonna give Scott Snyder shit for going super high concept, I mean, at least he's trying to embrace that he works in comics. He's not trying to. I think.
Yeah.
He knows what he's.
I think it's just
in
like
fairness.
My problem with
fairness to Tom King, at least Tom King did try some different things. Like he failed at sometimes and he succeeded sometimes. But Tom King did actually try, but not like, I don't know what the fuck he's doing now. Like, he's really being weird now. But
Tom's heads up.
Like, yeah, but his early to mid run, like, I gave him credit for just at least like he was trying some different things, even though some of it didn't work.
And for the record, like, I actually like Tom King's one issue. I call this, it's a very specific issue, Batman issue 37. It was when Superman, Batman, Lois and Catwoman, they all went to the fair and they had to swap and they costume swapped.
Okay. Yeah.
And and literally the whole thing ends with just like Superman and Batman placing a bet on whether or not Batman can hit Superman's fastball. And he does, because it's a Batman book, and yeah. But he does, but at the same time, it's like the whole point was literally just them shooting the shit, just them hanging out. It's like, you know, if Tom King was doing more stuff like this and the character interactions and really playing up what fans like, example, fans like, and I mean like fans of the books really, really like when writers, Christopher Priest did this too in his Justice League run, when they really bring up the bromance, so to speak, between Clark and Bruce.
Yeah.
And not like, because people focus too much on the rivalry between Superman and Batman, them fighting each other. It's like, we don't get to really focus enough on the two of them just talking, you know, or them hanging out, you know?
Being friends.
Yeah. And that's like, and that's what people like. People like, and or like in Super Sons, Jurgens did that. No, not Jurgens. It was Tomasi. He did that to a scintillating perfection. Like, he really, like I said, DC was doing great 2 years ago. It's only been 2 years. How do you fuck it up in 2 years?
I think DC has this ability to be good at certain points and be really awful at other points. And that's different from Marvel, where they're just, it seems like they just want to screw things up.
I don't know. I mean, I've got nothing to add to that.
It actually makes me think about how much control Disney might have over Marvel in comparison to how much control Warner Brothers has with DC.
Well, you did.
George Perez mentioned this, like how he friggin' lost his, like, you know, how he was disillusioned with corporate comics because Warner Brothers in the early New 52 era was constantly trying to interfere, like they thought it was a movie.
Yeah. You know, I guess if you think about it, I mean, like if this might not be a bad example, but if J. Michael Straczynski's comments on working under Warner Brothers is any indicator, they'll give you enough rope to hang yourselves with.
Except in that one period of time when they were on George Perez's ass because they were trying to make a Superman movie and they wanted to make a script out of a Superman movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can. On the one hand, I can kind of understand the mindset behind Disney and Marvel being more micromanaging because they want to keep everything a consistent vision.
But that's kind of
a trap.
That though.
Yeah, no. Like I said, I did not say it was an excuse. Just that I understand the mindset.
Oh, I know. It's just that it'd work better if they were to give the comics a centralized vision with the movies, but they aren't.
I don't know, because Jonathan Hickman said like trying to emulate the MC movies, trying to emulate the MCU in the comics has actually been to their detriment.
They haven't really. I don't really think they've been emulating the MCU in the comics. Sure, with some designs, but in terms of stories, not really.
Yeah, they've been surprisingly different from each other. Surprising to me. Like, I thought they would try to sync them up almost exactly.
That would make them profit.
The problem with that is that I think the logistics behind that is that if they were going to sync up the comics with the movies, that would require a total reboot.
Yeah, like it would literally take them shutting down the entire publishing arm. But the problem is they won't do it because then Hollywood types think that comic books and novels and all that are beneath them, especially screenwriters. They're really, really notorious for that. Yeah. It's like, you know, they think it's like, oh, this is beneath me. I do not have to reference this. And if I am going to reference it, I'm going to do it out of the purest of spite. I fart in your general direction.
Or I'm going to do it to be ironic.
Well, I don't think they'd have to shut down, completely reboot it, but create a new universe.
Marvel has books. Like Marvel has MCU comics, but do they ever mention them? Nope.
Okay.
I remember this because there was another Perch video where he talked about how like what we're dealing with right now is just another transition that the industry is going through, and it's like every other transition, you're going to have those who are able to adapt and those who aren't, and those who get left behind and end up getting left behind inevitably. And I guess the question really becomes like, I mean, obviously, I think it's no secret to everyone. The MCU cannot last forever.
We know that.
Well, of course not, because look at the success of the Superman movies. You can take that as a model.
Well,
sort of.
Not just that. I mean, like comic book superhero movies. Like this is a bubble that is waiting to burst.
Oh yeah, I think the MCU is about to fall apart.
I don't know. I'm going on. I kind of take Razor Fist's. I'm taking Razor Fist's opinion on this. That it's not going to be one movie that tanks the whole universe. It's going to be a procession of just merely passable movies that people grow more and more disenfranchised with.
Well, that's the thing. As that's gonna be the key, because as we saw with the original MCU movies, they they laid the foundation. They did the single stories, and they did them right. And that way, when they did the Avengers, everyone was on board for it. If they can do that again, if they can somehow replicate that process again, they might have another 10 years on their hands.
Probably not, though, because movies tend to work in cycles, and eventually the superhero cycle will run out.
Yeah, think about it. I mean, like, it's happened
Not
before.
necessarily.
Like, remember
Look at James Bond, though. Look at James Bond. People still clamor for new Bond movies after 25 years.
Here's my counterpoint, Michael.
Bond movies, there's 25 James Bond movies, but there's like friggin' like 25 Avengers or 25 Marvel movies in the span of like 10 years.
That's true.
Here's my counterpoint, Michael. Aaron, I know you're old enough to remember this, but do you remember like back in the 80s where there were just all these blockbuster action movies starring guys like Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Seagal? And you remember,
we grew up with that.
And you remember how those seemed to just vanish overnight when the decade was over.
Yeah.
Because you had a couple bad movies and a few that were just merely passable, and it's just like audiences just grew tired of it.
Yep.
And those special actors kind of started going away, like the pop. There was those super popular actors too that kind of people got tired of, or they started getting.
They wanted to do something else.
Even though they're still around now, I mean, it's kind of action movies are starting to kind of resurge a little bit.
Yeah, I know, but the point I'm making is that the MCU is just part of another film trend.
Yeah.
And it's a trend that has managed to last a lot longer than it probably should have been.
Yeah, like, people were predicting it to fall apart like 10 years ago.
Yeah, but that's kind of the perspective I'm taking. Like I said, like I don't see it going down with just one really bad, awful movie, because Disney is because like I said, Disney likes to micromanage their properties. Yeah. What I see happening is they are just going to
unravel. It will unravel is what will happen.
Yeah, but what's going to happen is we're not going to get one bad movie that tanks the whole series. We're just going to get a bunch of merely passable movies that people just get less and less interested in.
I think so too.
Like people just walk and say, "It wasn't bad," but it's like I've seen this before already.
That's the way I feel with the Marvel movies. Is like I haven't even seen Endgame because I'm just like I've already seen all these fucking movies. Like they're all the same. Like they have the same comedy, they have the same formula. It's just I don't know.
The only way they'll get me back on board is a J. Jonah Jameson spinoff with J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, I mean, you want to know what? I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit of a story. I have stopped watching Star Wars movies altogether, and I want you guys. Matt knows the answer to this one, so he's not allowed to say it. Guys, which movie do you think made me lose interest completely?
Last Jedi.
That's what I would guess was Last Jedi.
It was Rogue One.
Oh,
I actually liked Rogue One.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I went to Rogue One with my brother. I walked out and I was like, "Well, that happened."
Oh, so it wasn't the rage that did you in.
It was indifference.
Yeah.
And I just realized it was, and that's when it dawned on me. It's just like, why did I go see this movie? It's like, it told me nothing I didn't already know.
Well, that's the problem with what Disney wanted to do. Disney wanted to do a Star Wars movie per year. And they don't understand the reason why Star Wars was such a big success was that there were so little movies.
Yeah.
That it was actually special.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they want to jam everything down your throat now. And
people forgot that between the big tent poles, which are the movies, we had the TV shows, we had the comics, we had them, and they still do those, sure, but they didn't. They're now they're filler. They're no longer seen as like the continuing adventures. And it's funny because their marketing arm back in 2015 tried to make it like, oh yeah, the books are just as important. Yeah, but by doing that, you basically made them a big old bowl of pointless, because now people don't want to go read the books. Like, you entice people to buy the books because they're intrigued. You don't, but if you force people to buy the books, they're not going to want to. It's a rejection. It's rejection theory. It's basically you force someone, they're going to go no. But it's like, if you entice them, they're like, okay, let's check it out.
Well,
and then they
also threw away like 30 years of novels.
Continuity.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, one of the biggest problems with The Last Jedi I saw was they decided to release the novelization after the movie came out because they saw it as Last Jedi 1.5 as a patch, where they explain everything that they were supposed to explain in the movie.
All I did was make it worse.
Oh yeah, Luke works with Snoke, everyone.
But yeah, but
all of his training became hers. Doors were opening in her mind. Fuck off.
But yeah, that's something but that's the thing I want people to take away is that I stopped watching Star Wars movies not because one movie pissed me off, just because one movie left me cold and didn't make me feel anything.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, is the worst thing a movie can do. It is better a movie enrages you than leaves you feeling nothing.
Apathy is death.
Yeah.
That's how I felt with Star Trek Discovery Season 1.
You felt nothing.
Yep.
I just went, wow, this is bad, and then just turned it off.
But I think they could do a really good show with the crew of the Enterprise of the time period after Season 2. Because the actor who plays Pike has more charisma than Chris Pine.
Well, I feel so bad for Anson Mount, who plays Captain Pike. He also played because he was also Black Bolt in the Inhumans TV show.
Yep.
Man, one bad TV show after the other. It's like, God damn it, dude.
Well, he was actually praised for his performance.
He's always praised in all these shitty works. Like, it's like the one bright spot is Anson Mount. Yeah, but that doesn't change the fact that he's on a shitty show not once but twice.
Here's what I really want to see him do: a Star Trek series where he plays as Kirk, because he gets the William Shatner without making a parody.
Yeah.
Well, remember, Captain Pike, even in the original Trek, was always described as a more cynical Captain Kirk. Like, he was like browbeaten by the books captain, where he was like, he had the same kind of charisma and the same charm as Captain Kirk, whereas Captain Kirk was much more laissez-faire and kind of did his thing. Captain Pike was a little more by the book, you know?
Yeah, Captain Kirk Kirk was much more of a romantic.
Yeah, whereas Pike was a pragmatist.
Yeah, but the thing is, they didn't write Pike as Pike. They wrote Pike as Kirk.
That's true.
And Anson Mount does a great Shatner performance.
Having said that, it is actually easy to see why Captain Pike would become, example, why people like even Roddenberry described Pike as basically a proto-Kirk, because they're similar, but they have their differences.
Yeah.
So that's probably why people can make that distinction, because granted, the original actors made way more distinction, but they also had more time to develop the distinctions between Pike and Kirk, you know?
Oh yeah, and there's the interesting thing is that
if we let a Pike series continue, we would actually see more of what, especially if the writers in charge did follow Roddenberry's kind of baseline. It's like they're very similar, except is that Kirk's a romanticist, Pike's a pragmatist. That's the only difference.
What I found really interesting about the whole in-between work is that Leonard Nimoy was going to portray Spock as a more emotional character with Pike.
And he's more emotional with Pike, and he's more realistic with Spock. When he's more pragmatic with Kirk.
Yep, because he decided it would be better to have the character bounce off of the lead actor.
Exactly. And it's like, but yet they're still very similar. So it would have been interesting is that like, you see that and you could do a Pike series where he transitions from that, whatever the heck, pecker spork, as Doomcock puts it. And so long as Kurtzman's not involved.
I think he's gone. Maybe.
I know, but just to let's make damn sure, shall we?
What's that now? Did someone say my name?
No.
Lol.
Is your last name?
Yes. Didn't you know I'm Michael Robert Kirkman Watson?
Are you? But is your name Alex Kurtzman?
Oh, definitely not. No.
Michael, are you there with Matt too?
No, unfortunately, Matt couldn't make it today. He's back out in Reading right now.
All right.
Oh.
Matt, here's a question.
I think we've kind of run the gamut of subjects to talk about. Do you think, Wicked, we should probably wrap it up?
I was just gonna ask Matt something first. Like,
sure.
Matt, if we're do you think do you see us like trying to keep the Mythoverse running as long as we can, or do you think we're actually gonna pull the trigger and give it a proper send off at some point?
I think best case scenario is that we probably pull the trigger, but worst case we just I would just abandon it. But then again, I think right now with all the people who are coming aboard with the Mythoverse, we'll have a hard time abandoning it or pulling a trigger.
I know, but it's just like we've already seen what happened to Marvel and DC. Like they've arguably gone much longer than they probably should have. And like, I'm gonna agree with John De La Rose on this one that it's glorified fan fiction at this point.
But they have like 80 years or something. You guys could go the rest of your life and not have as much material as they have.
Yeah,
maybe not. But
Brett, the thing that makes us different from Marvel is that we're encouraging people to do their own work.
True.
And Marvel is doing the works that was done by way better creators. That
is true. At this point, they're basically trying to run off nostalgia.
Yep. Yeah.
I guess if I had to make one point, it's that I think we'll know when it's time to pack it in.
I don't think you should worry about that right now.
Yeah, calm it down, Brett.
My mind. I'm
just getting started.
I know. Look, my mind is very big picture. Okay, I sometimes have these moments where I'm just thinking like really far down the line, which maybe you know what? Yeah. I probably shouldn't care about that, but it's just like, goddamn, I just kind of can't help it when my mind's left to its own devices.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's completely understandable. And with that, I suppose we'll go ahead and wrap it up if that's cool with all you guys then.
Yeah, I think we're good. Besides, I gotta get ready for work.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's call it here, guys.
So why don't you go ahead and tell me where you guys can be followed online and where they can check out your stuff.
Aaron, Wes, how about you guys take it?
I guess you guys can. Well, I just posted on Indiegogo, but as we saw, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Charger Collins, and all the other shenanigans that go from there. I forgot that Troy is on Twitter now.
Aw, it's so sad, isn't it? I miss Troy.
Yeah, we all do.
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Aaron? Where can people follow you online?
Yeah, for me, just go to Indiegogo and type in Extractors, and you'll find our comic book, and all our Twitters are on there. And just check out the campaign. It's a space adventure. It's like super violent action adventure in space. Yeah.
Excellent, man.
Yeah.
please, everyone, go check it out. It's just a really awesome story. It's got such a fun, unique premise and stuff. So I know everyone's gonna really love it. It's just it's awesome, man. So please do go check it out.
Me, I can be
And
found
then,
on. I was gonna
go
say,
ahead, sorry.
me, I can be found on Twitter at Celtic Brett. And Matt.
And you can catch me at Matt Trin on Twitter.
All right, sure.
All right. So you guess I'll get back to selling some more comics then. With that note.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go ahead and just put that there, and then Matt's out. But thanks again for joining me today. I appreciate everyone coming in, stopping by. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks for our next episode as well.
Cheers.
Later.
See you guys later. Take care, everyone.
Later.
Bye.
Stay wicked.